Well, Happy New Year to you, and welcome to the first episode of Food and the Single Guy for 2018. I hope you've had a wonderful New Year celebration. Lord knows I had. Now, on this episode of Food and the Single Guy, I am going to cook the second most requested dish on my channel. I'm talking about our fabulous and well-loved okra soup. It is a staple dish in the black cuisine in my country, and you should try it because it is thebomb.com. Okay, now let me give you a little bit of a backstory on okra, because okra, the vegetable, by nature, and this is the way the good Lord intended it to be, by nature, this vegetable has kind of a slimy, mucousy concoction that comes off of it when you slice into it. Don't you call your mom and them. Don't fear, don't worry. This is just the way this vegetable is intended to be, okay? Now, there are a lot of people from my country, and I can only speak on the people from my country that I know of, when they move from the homeland, for instance, to the United States or to Canada or to other parts of the Caribbean mayhaps, all of a sudden they no longer eat pork, and all of a sudden they're allergic to the okra because they can't stand the sliminess. Bitch, if you don't sit your black ass down and eat the damn okra, I'm telling you, girl, you can't take it with them proudy people. I can't take it, I can't take it. Them get me vexed. I'm telling all you. Oh, you look at me talking in my Caribbean accent. Anyway, now speaking about the Caribbean, you guys, I would like for you to keep everybody in the Caribbean in your thoughts and prayers, because a lot of the islands are still struggling to rebuild after the devastation of Hurricanes Maria and Irma. So if you're physically able to help out, please do so. If you're monetarily able to help out, please do so. All right, so shout out to all my family and friends in the Caribbean. I'm thinking of you, and I do what I do from this end. Okay, now let's get on with the cooking. Okay, you guys, allow me to introduce to you the rest of the ingredients of my fabulous okra soup. Now, this is what okra looks like. And I'm going to put up a picture right now so you can see how okra grows. It kind of grows upward. And that is me in the garden of some of our friends back home. And yes, that is my long, beautiful hair. I miss my long, beautiful hair. But anyways, this is not a video about hair. This is a video about the fabulous okra soup from my country. So yes, this is what the okra looks like, you guys. I have here some shallots that I'm going to be using. Feel free to use some onions. I had these left, so I figured why not use them. Now this right here is what we call in my country antrua. It is related to the eggplant, and it's also known as West African eggplant. And traditionally, the old people in my country, they always add just one of these to the soup. All right, now right here I have a smoked fish. The smoked fish is going to add such a rich and delicate flavor to your soup. What I'm going to do with this fish is I am going to remove the fins and some of the scales, well, the rest of the scales, and I'm going to try to debone it, and then I'm going to add it to the soup. I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. Now what I have here is a bushel of taro leaves, also known as a dasheen bush. And I'm going to show you how to clean this. It has kind of a spinachy texture, but it's a little firmer than spinach. Okay, now we use the leaves and we use some of the stems, and I'm going to show you how it's done in a minute. Okay guys, as you can see, this is what the fish looks like. I have tried my best to debone the fish, but I'm sure there will be a couple of bones left in it. That is just the way it is. Now let's move on to the next part of the video. Okay guys, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna wash the taro leaves just like this. And I can already tell you that I'm not gonna use all of the stems because some of them are very hard, okay? So basically how you use them, you chop the end off. As you can see, it's very pointy. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's just the way we do it. You chop this off, this little piece, or you break it off just like that. And then you take a knife and you get rid of the stem, just like this. And then you get all of the leaves and then you fold them, you roll them into one, and then you start slicing them very thinly. Okay? which is what I'm going to show you in the next step. Okay guys, so this is what our taro leaves look like, and in my country we call them tayarblat or tayawiri. In certain Caribbean countries they call this taro leaves or dasheen bush. And this is what the stems look like. I'm going to show you how to clean them in a minute. But what we're going to do next, we are going to roll these leaves up just like so. And we are going to finely chop them. Just like this. Okay, you guys, you see what I mean? This is the way you want to chop them. See? Okay guys, so as I just mentioned, I am not going to use all of the stems because some of them are very hard. But the way you do this, the way you clean these is you make a little incision in the stem and then you remove the skin, if you will. See? You just remove it just like this. And you do that for all the stems that, you know, you think look good enough to eat. And you may want to cut them in two, just like this. So I'm going to do a couple of them because not all of them are very, you know, soft. This one is like very hard at the bottom, and that is not what I want. See what I mean, guys? I only ended up using the top parts of the stalks because the bottom parts were too hard. Sometimes you can get away with using them because they're rather soft, but not this time. And this is what the vegetables look like. And it is time to move on to the okra. Now about the okra, you guys, as mentioned earlier, this vegetable has a slimy concoction that it secretes whenever you cut into it. That is just the way the good Lord intended it to be, okay? Don't worry, don't fret, don't fear. That is just the way it is. However, if you want to keep that slimy stuff to a bare minimum, you are going to wash these before cutting them, okay? Now, if you wash them, you want to make sure that you pat them dry on a towel before cutting them, because any kind of liquid will intensify the slimy stuff that comes out of this vegetable, okay? Keep that in mind. Now let me go ahead and wash them. There we go. Now what I'm going to do next, I'm going to put these on a towel. I'm going to dry them before I slice them. Okay guys, now it's time to cut the okra. And what I have here is a dry plate because I'm going to put the cut okra on the plate. And basically how you cut the okra is very simple. You want to get rid of the ends, just like this. And then I always slice them at an angle. Just like this. See what I mean? Now some people cut them like this, but I always like to do things my way. And I slice them at an angle, just like so. See what I mean? Just beautiful. Now let me go ahead and cut the rest of the okra, and I shall be back in a couple of seconds. Okay, beautiful people, this is what my okra looks like, and I can tell you that it's not at all slimy, and that is what you want. Okay guys, what I have here is my chicken, and if you've been on my channel since the beginning, you will know that in my country we have a specific way of cleaning our chicken, our meats, raw fish, beef, pork, you name it. We soak the meat in a basin of water with some lime juice or some lemon juice or some vinegar. Hell, if you don't have those things, you can even use some oranges, because the citrus is gonna cut that raw meaty scent that all meats have, okay? And in addition to that, meat goes from one hand to the next. You don't want to put that in your body, all right? Now, I went ahead and I seasoned my chicken with some salt, some black pepper, and some garlic powder, and I allowed this to marinate overnight. Traditionally, that is not how it's done, but this is the only thing that I can honestly say I put my own personal spin on it. I like my meats to be seasoned well, and that is why I do it. All right, but other than that, the preparation of this dish, I can tell you, is as traditional as it comes. Now, the chicken is going to be your main source of protein in this soup, and I have here some tenderized salted beef. It's not a lot, but then again, like I said, the chicken is the main source of protein. The salted beef is going to add a delicate flavor to the soup. I spoke on the fish, which is right here. The fish is also a source of protein, but not the source of protein in your soup. And I have my shallots right here, I have my taro leaves right here, and I have the okra. And I think it is time to start the cooking process. Okay guys, what I have here is about 2.5 liters of water that I'm gonna bring to the boil. Alright? Okay guys, as you can see, the water is boiling. And what I'm gonna add first are the shallots, followed by the bay leaves, the pimento corns, also known as allspice, a couple of cloves, 3 chicken stock cubes, and some garlic. We're gonna give that a stir, and we're gonna allow this to cook for about 2, maybe 3 minutes. Okay guys, so after about 3 minutes, you wanna add the chicken. And for this soup, you guys, it is mandatory that you do not use boneless chicken, okay? You need some chicken with some meat on those bones, because you want a broth that is rich and very delicious, okay? Now let's add the chicken. Now we're gonna allow the chicken to cook for about 20 minutes on medium-high heat, upon which we will be adding the rest of the ingredients. Okay guys, now after about 15 minutes, you wanna check on your soup. And it smells delicious up in here. And you wanna do a little taste test, okay? Just to make sure that your soup has enough flavor and everything. Ooh, yes. What we're gonna add next is the salted beef. We're gonna give that a nice stir. And we're gonna allow to simmer for another 10 to 15 minutes before checking on it yet again. Okay you guys, so my soup is boiling away nicely, and I can tell you that it smells very good in here. Now what I'm gonna add next is the fish. Give it a nice stir. And as mentioned earlier, you guys, the fish is going to give a very delicate taste to the soup because it's smoked, you know? Just like this, we're gonna allow this to cook for about 2 more minutes before adding the vegetables. Okay guys, next what we're gonna add is the antrua. Just like this. And we're gonna allow this to cook for about 5 to 7 minutes because you want it to be soft and tender. So our okra soup is almost done. What we're gonna add next are the chopped up taro leaves. Just like so. We're gonna give that a bit of a stir. And lastly, we're gonna add the okra. And the reason you wanna add the okra last is because, and as I mentioned before, you wanna minimize the amount of that slimy stuff that comes off of this vegetable. And finally, we are going to add a nice yellow pepper because it's mandatory. We're gonna cover the pot and we're going to allow to simmer on very low heat for about 5 to 7 minutes. Don't allow this to come to the boil, because that is when the okra will generate all of that, slimy stuff that some of you don't like. Alright, and now for the serving suggestion, you guys. We have all of this goodness right here in this bowl. And I have decided to use my transparent bowls instead of my dark brown dinner plates today, because I wanted you to see everything. Right here we have the smoked fish. We have the chicken right here. We have the yellow pepper. We have the taro leaves. We have the okra. We have the salted beef. We have all of this goodness in this bowl. And we're gonna serve this with some rice, because that is mandatory. And baby, let me tell you, I cannot wait to sink my teeth into this bowl of goodness. Okay, and there you have it, you guys. If you decide to give my okra soup a try, let me know how it turned out, because I'm always interested in hearing from you. In the meantime, let me take this opportunity to welcome a ton of new subscribers to my Food and the Single Guy family. I don't take you for granted. I appreciate your subscription. I thank you for your subscription. And if you have any questions, comments, or thoughts, you know where to find me, okay? You drop me a line, and I'm one of those people on YouTube that always replies to comments, because unlike some, I am not too big to reply to comments. I hate when people do that. I think that is so disrespectful. But that is just my humble opinion. Okay, so do take care, be well, happy cooking, happy eating. Don't add crazy to the craziness, not even in 2018. And I will see you when I see you. Have a good one, you guys. Bye.